Hey, good morning, Facebook family and friends. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jania. I'm so excited to be on today. You have to excuse me. I am off. So my hair is crazy, but anyway. Today, yes, let me slow down. The other day, one of those days, we were talking about the hindrance of uncertainty. And we said that as children of God, we are called to walk by faith and not by sight. And so what that means is that there are going to be some times in our lives when we have to step out in faith on what God is calling us to do, even if no one else sees it, even if no one else understands it, that we have to take that step of faith. Excuse me. And we talked about Noah, and we said it's one thing for Noah to hear God's call, to hear God's voice, and to hear that flood is coming. It's another thing for Noah to step out in faith and start building that ark. And so my question for you today is just a short message while I'm off enjoying life. I'm just kidding. But my question to you today is, have you taken that first step of faith? Have you taken that next small step? Because sometimes, and I was talking to my pastor today, sometimes we become overwhelmed because the God's plan or his purpose, that assignment is too big. It's way above and beyond us. But what we can do is take small steps. We can break it down into small, manageable steps in order to get to that big goal or that bigger picture. And so what have you done? Have you taken that step? So if you, like Noah, heard God's call, what are you doing about it? And if you're not doing anything about it, then ask yourself, why? Why not? What is holding me back? And then once you realize what's holding you back, then go through our old YouTube videos. Look at those other areas of distractions or obstacles or hindrances that we've been talking about, and then come back to this video. So I'm saying to you is we got to take that first step. And I'm not saying it because I got it all together. I'm saying it because I need to take that first step. There are some things that God has called me to do, and we've been talking about these hindrances, and I've been holding back. I've been shrinking back, right? I've been tapping into insecurity, doubt, discouragement, and none of those things are coming from God, but it's just an attack from the enemy to keep me from doing what God has called me to do, to keep me from having the influence that God has given me. So if God has called you to write a book, right, then I want you to ask yourself, what are some small manageable steps that you can do? One, you can brainstorm ideas or topics that you would like to write about, things or topics or areas of interest to you, right? You can think about themes that have been common and prevalent throughout your life, right? If you've been a person who's been resilient or a person who's persevered through some hard times, think about some of those things that might keep popping up as you look back over your life. But that's one way, one small manageable step that you can do towards your goal. If God has called you to start a ministry, write it down, make it plain. What does that ministry look like? Who are you ministering to? What is your population? How are you going to minister to them? Is it through online? I mean, we have so many different avenues now. There's a lady here in York that does plays and dinner and theater, and it's all gospel based and Christ centered. And that's her way of reaching people and winning souls. We have people who are comedians for God, for Christ, who just likes to make people laugh and bring some joy to our lives. We need that. So let me not get way off topic, but you have to find out what it is that God is calling you to do and then find a way to do it. We talked about procrastination, and we said there's a fine line, and maybe there is no line between procrastination and disobedience. And we don't want to get to that place where it's too late. Where it's too late to do what God has called us to do. But we want to do it when he's calling us to do it, when he's presenting that opportunity to us. So I was reading something today, an article today, and it just blessed me. I was up early this morning, and I mean, it just really encouraged me. It was talking about Ruth, right? And hold on just a minute. Let me find it here. It was talking about transition. And so I posted this to the Facebook page, but I want to read it to you anyway in case you didn't see it. It says, let me go back. Transition means change, and it signifies that there is something to leave behind and something to look forward to. So yes, you may have to leave some things behind, some people behind, some places behind, some old habits and patterns behind, some behaviors behind. And yes, it's uncomfortable, but there's also something to look forward to in the transition. And so what the enemy tried to get me with, hear me now, he wanted me to look at all those things I thought I was leaving behind. All the things I thought I wouldn't have time for. So I was looking at this opportunity, but I was looking at it in a negative way. And that is nothing but the enemy. And he'll try to do the same thing to you. But you have to remember, when you're in the midst of a transition, there is also something to look forward to. So you're leaving some things behind, but there's something greater. It's something better in store for you. So transition, let me make sure, is not a place to get stuck. And so again, the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. He loves to see us stuck. He loves to see us stagnant. He loves to see us complacent. But transition is not the place to get stuck. So wherever you are today, be encouraged. Know that according to Ephesians 2:10, you have a purpose. You have destiny. You have gifts and talents and abilities. God has given you so much. It may not look like it in the natural, and the enemy will try to take away from it, but God has given you so much. And so my question to you this Friday is, what are you doing? Are you using that gift? Are you using that talent? Are you investing in yourself, in your own spiritual development? So back to what I was saying. This article this morning was talking about transition, and then it talked about Ruth. And I've heard the story of Ruth and Naomi before, but I didn't look at it like this. Ruth left her family and her culture behind. With everything that was familiar to her, she left it all behind to follow Naomi. Even though in the natural there wasn't no hope, Naomi didn't have any more sons. It didn't. In our natural minds, it didn't look like things would get better for her. But she said, your people will be my people and your God is going to be my God. In other words, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here and I'm in it for the long haul. And so she didn't know that first small step of obedience, that first small step that she took. I'm sorry, I'm excited this morning. But that first small step that she took, she had no idea the doors that God was going to open for her just because of her obedience, just because of her stepping out. And so because Ruth left her family, because she left her culture, because she stuck with Naomi, that positioned her to meet Boaz, who would become her husband, right? And also the source of the family's inheritance, right? And not only that, she didn't know that she was going to give birth to a son. And that son would be able to be held by Naomi, who lost her own son, right? And she didn't know that her son would be the great-grandfather, that her son would have this legacy and would be in the same lineage as Jesus Christ. She had no idea. And so I'm not saying we're supposed to be obedient to get something. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that our obedience places us in the right position to receive what God has for us. To receive what God has for us. So you might be sitting there thinking, well, I'm not going to brainstorm about this book. It's not going to happen. No, it's not going to happen. If you don't write it down, if you don't think of topics, if you don't think of ideas, if you don't take that 5 or 10 or 30 minutes every day or every week to invest in it, it's not going to happen. So take that small step. Ask yourself, what is the next small step I need to take? I hear God's voice. I hear his calling. I've talked to my leaders. I sought wise counsel. I sought godly counsel. I believe that this is what God is calling me to do. Now, what can I do next? How can I invest in myself, in my journey, in my purpose, and my calling? So I hope that this encourages you this morning. I know this article talking about transition, not allowing ourselves to get stuck or defeated, but embracing the destiny and the plans and the purposes that God has for us. It's been so excited. I'm excited. It's only 11:30, but I am excited to see what God is going to do because I took that first step, because I made that phone call, because I talked to that person. And now he's going to begin to open up some doors that I can walk in, but the door is not going to open if I don't. Okay, one more thing before I leave. You know how you go to Walmart, right? If you stand, if you just go to the door, if you walk towards that door stays open. As long as you're in close proximity, that door stays open. And everything, you have access, everything becomes available to you, right? And so for some of us, we're waiting at the parking lot. Hear me now. We're at the parking lot. We're outside of the building. I believe that this is the right place. I believe this is where God called me to, but we won't walk up to the door. We expect the doors to just open by itself, but we got to get into close proximity. Right? We have to align ourselves. We have to get into position. We have to put faith behind our beliefs, and then we will see. I'm trying to remember the verse, and he said, didn't I tell you if you just believe, you would see the glory of God? I am encouraged. I hope you are empowered. I'm telling you, put some faith behind your beliefs. Start acting like you really believe what you say you believe. And I'm telling you, watch God work. Watch God open doors and watch your life change. And not only will your life change, but everyone that is connected to you, their lives are going to change as well. Be encouraged, be inspired, be empowered, and I'll see you next time.